or so dirty today? I'm sure. 35 is big, I think 42 is good. I am take Mr. Muscle. I'm finished, sir.
They got problems on problems on problems on problems on
It's my
problems on
favorite
problems.
exercise.
I run through the money,
Like
the
this.
press will be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling.
This is what one of the most viral pranks in the fitness world looked like. A video that racked up millions of views and made an ordinary guy famous overnight. Vladimir Shmondenko, a young Ukrainian strongman dressed as a frail janitor, became an internet legend in just a couple of minutes. Today, his videos get tens of millions of views. He's recognized on the streets of Dubai and Los Angeles, he's admired by Arnold Schwarzenegger himself, and has even been a guest of Arab princes. But behind the charisma of Grandpa Anatoly is a real person. A boy who, from the age of 7, hated digging potatoes and hauling hay. A boy whose father, a tractor driver, once told him something that would define his entire life. Today we're telling the true story of Vladimir Shmondenko. From training with a homemade barbell in the Ukrainian countryside and working as a waiter to gaining millions of subscribers, landing major ad deals, and meeting Arnold Schwarzenegger. How did a country kid with no money, no connections, and no gym become a global star? What's the secret to his popularity? And what did he feel when real money first started coming in from his videos? Stick around to the end to find out how a man with over 20 million followers really lives and what his plans are for the future. Get ready. This is a story of courage, resourcefulness, and believing in a dream. This is the true story of Vladimir Shmondenko, better known as Mr. Anatoly. Vladimir Shmondenko was born on August 10, 1999 in the village of Krystopivka, a tiny dot on the map of Ukraine with a population of about 200 people. His father worked as a tractor driver his whole life, and his mother was a collective farm worker. From the age of 6 or 7, Vladimir was already a full-fledged laborer in the garden and the fields, digging potatoes and carrying hay. He admitted that he hated this grueling work, which was his family's means of survival. But it was this very experience that instilled in him a colossal work ethic from a young age. Vladimir's main driving force was a burning desire not to live like his parents. He saw their hard, dead-end labor and was determined that his life would be different. His parents fully supported this dream, often telling him he had to be the last in their family line to work the fields. He especially remembered his father's words during one hay harvest. "I really want you to get out of here, because I've been toiling here my whole life, and I know this is where my life ends." For the young boy, this phrase became a powerful incentive to break out and succeed in the world. As a child, Vladimir was very thin and scrawny. He even called himself a beanpole. Despite being tall, he weighed only about 55 kilograms. He hated his own physique and wanted to change it so people would finally start noticing and respecting him. As a teenager, when the internet finally reached his village, his idol became Ziz, Aziz Shavashian, a cult fitness blogger of that era. Vladimir wasn't just drawn to a mountain of muscle, but to the aesthetics and beauty of the body that Ziz promoted. There was no professional gym in the village, so Vladimir built one himself. He welded his first barbell from scrap metal and used concrete poured into brick molds for plates. His bench press was just 2 rickety chairs and a plank, and his dumbbells were plastic bottles filled with cement. As a teen, he trained like a man possessed, building strength and knowledge day after day. He read everything he could find, from old sports magazines to powerlifting forums. His diet was simple. Vladimir recalls that at 17, his diet consisted mainly of oatmeal, cottage cheese, and eggs, cheap and nutritious. It was more than enough to make progress. His classmates remembered him bringing containers of oatmeal to school, which often made him the butt of their jokes. Over time, he realized that it wasn't just aesthetics that drew him in, but the thrill of growing stronger. That's how Vladimir got into powerlifting. For a guy training in a makeshift gym, his results were phenomenal. In the approximately 82-kilogram weight class, his personal records were a 290-kilogram deadlift, a 150-kilogram bench press, and a 210-kilogram squat. These are the numbers of an elite athlete, not a self-taught kid from a village. Moreover, he proved his strength in competition. In 2017 and 2018, Shmondenko won the Junior Kiev Cup twice, and in 2018, he took bronze at the GPA World Championships in the 18 to 19 teen division. But these achievements weren't enough for Vladimir. He wanted to share his knowledge, to teach others how to train, how to eat right, and how to set goals. That's when he first turned his attention to YouTube. The internet seemed like the most direct way to reach an audience. Vladimir saw dozens of fitness bloggers explaining how to do a bench press or how to bulk up, and he realized he could do it too, but in his own way. And so, the idea that would change his life was born, to create his own video blog about training, but one that was different from the rest, without the pretense, full of humor and authenticity. Vladimir started his YouTube channel at 14, but his success story wasn't a sprint, it was a marathon. For nearly 4 years, he made videos for almost no one. His views were low, and the channel wasn't growing. In desperation, he spammed links to his videos in fitness groups on VKontakte, a popular Eastern European social network, which got him constantly banned. It got to the point where Vladimir would personally message the admins, begging to be unbanned. At 17, he got into a Kiev university, which was his only chance to escape the village. There, Vladimir experienced a culture shock. In the huge city, he felt like a savage, was ashamed of his simple village clothes, and was intimidated by the scale of the subway. To survive, he took any job he could find. He worked on construction sites, handed out flyers, and worked as a waiter, a food delivery courier, and a landscaper. He lived in an old dorm room infested with cockroaches. By the way, he would later call his waiting job the best school of life for young people. According to him, it honed his most important skill, communicating with people and the art of persuasion. The real breakthrough came only after 4 years of failure. A video on budget nutrition titled something like "How to Get Jacked on $2 a Day" unexpectedly brought in his first serious views, with the very first one hitting hundreds of thousands. And then, a moment Vladimir took as a sign from fate occurred. The notification from YouTube approving his channel for monetization arrived on the very same day he was fired from his waiting job. His first channel earnings were $200 to $300. It was proof he was on the right path. When you're just starting out, it's not enough to believe in an idea. You must choose reliable tools to bring it to life. A few years ago, our team chose Bybit, and it's been our anchor in the highly volatile crypto market ever since. You can grab bonuses via the link in the description or simply enter code 24676 when registering on the exchange. Don't miss your chance to step into one of the fastest growing markets. And now, back to the story. After these first results, Vladimir decided to go all in. He cut back on his side jobs and dedicated himself completely to content creation. Camera, editing, new ideas, 24/7. For a while, Vladimir Shmondenko remained a niche fitness blogger, known only in small circles, but a breakthrough was ahead that would change everything. He needed to find his hook, a unique format that would make him stand out from the hundreds of other fitness channels. And that format was born, though not right away. Only after 3 years of hard work and dozens of tutorial videos did Vladimir dare to try an experiment that would make him a star. The year is 2019. Vladimir is 19 and understands that to keep growing, he needs fresh content. By then, his channel had about 200,000 subscribers, a decent number, but still far from his dream. YouTube was already boiling with competition, and attracting a new audience was getting harder. In search of new opportunities, Vladimir made a bold decision to move to Moscow. It was then that Shmondenko came up with a move inspired by Western YouTubers: a hidden camera, plus a shocking prank. The idea was simple: pretend to be a weakling, then stun everyone with his incredible strength. And thus, the character of Anatoly was born, a humble janitor who turned out to be an exceptionally strong powerlifter. The prank idea wasn't entirely new, but Vladimir made it his own. After buying clothes from a thrift store, he created the persona of a grandpa powerlifter. Overalls, a cap, a fake beard, and glasses. And the image of the good-natured Anatoly was complete. The shoots took place in regular gyms. Vladimir would arrange things with the gym's management beforehand, hide the camera, and prank unsuspecting gym-goers. The video where the janitor grandpa repositions a loaded barbell with one hand got hundreds of thousands of views in a matter of hours, and then millions. The public loved the janitor pranks. In just 6 months, Vladimir's channel skyrocketed. From a few 100,000 subscribers, he crossed the 1 million mark. His videos consistently pulled in several million views each, and advertisers were lining up. According to Shmondenko himself, the price for a single brand integration on his channel ranged from about $4,000 to $7,000 at the time, and he could barely fit them all into his videos. Vladimir joked that he finally got a taste of real money. To keep moving forward, you have to constantly want more, he said in an interview, and he lived by that principle. He didn't rest on his laurels with a million-strong audience, but continued to invent new scenes and characters. By then, the internet knew him as Mr. Anatoly. The name Vladimir gave his character for a Western appeal. His success on the Russian-speaking internet was deafening. The channel started featuring videos with even more unexpected plots. The jacked grandpa asks trainers to show him how to do an exercise, then performs it with a weight they can't even lift. Or a disguised Anatoly arm wrestles bodybuilders, and wins. Every one of these videos went viral across social media. Subscribers grew by the day, money poured in, and the 20-year-old Shmondenko suddenly became a wealthy young man. He moved into a luxury apartment, bought his dream car, and started traveling. Life was good. It seemed like just yesterday he was lifting dumbbells welded from scrap metal, and now he was a successful blogger in the capital. However, this success became a trap for him. He fell into what he himself called a comfort zone. Vladimir relaxed, started filming less frequently, and ideas for the grandpa character began to dry up. The symbol of this stagnation was the purchase of an expensive car, a BMW M5. He said that instead of joy, he felt it was an anchor pulling him down. That's when he made a radical decision. To deliberately pull himself out of that rut, he sold the car at a significant loss, gave away his belongings, packed a single suitcase, and flew to Dubai. With no concrete plan and almost no English. He destroyed his own comfort zone because, for him, growth was more important than money and status. Vladimir left everything he had built in Moscow behind: his film studio, his team, and his established connections with advertisers. In a foreign country, without friends or his usual support system, he had to start from scratch. He would later admit that this was one of the toughest periods of his life. His income dropped to almost zero. His old audience was on the other side of the border, and a new one had yet to be found. Filming nearly came to a halt. At one point, his bank account was nearing empty. But it was then that Shmondenko's true character shone through. He didn't just refuse to give up. He set a new goal for himself: to break onto the world stage. To do that, he needed one thing: to learn English. And Vladimir began learning it from scratch, for several hours a day, without tutors or courses, all on his own. After a few months of intensive study, Shmondenko could not only understand the language, but also joke on camera. At the same time, he studied English language YouTube, the tastes of Western audiences, TikTok trends, and how the algorithms work. In the spring of 2023, the first prank with an English voiceover was released on the Anatoly channel. The plot was the same. A silent janitor shocks a bunch of bodybuilders. But now the video was aimed at a much wider audience. At first, the views were slow. Vladimir posted video after video, but they only got tens of thousands of views. Peanuts compared to his previous achievements. After 8 months of working with no results, Shmondenko started to lose hope. He said he was about to shift his focus to other projects when a miracle happened. One of his short videos suddenly blew up in the recommendations. In that video, the janitor moved a barbell with one hand, and it got 1 million views, literally overnight. Disbelieving his eyes, Vladimir uploaded a new video, and that one got 2 million. The momentum had started. The algorithms finally picked up Shmondenko's content, and audiences from all over the world began to subscribe en masse to the mysterious strongman with a mop. After that first success, Mr. Anatoly's videos in English went viral one after another. The funny image of the charismatic grandpa janitor was universally understood without translation by people anywhere on the planet. In just a few months, Vladimir Shmondenko became, without exaggeration, a global social media star. Where his posts used to get 30,000 likes, now every new prank gathered 1 million or more. His subscriber count shot to the sky. On TikTok, he has over 21 million followers. On Instagram, around 22 million, and his English language YouTube channel, Anatoly, has more than 8.7 million subscribers. The numbers grew daily, and his videos have now amassed billions of views in total. Of course, with this came worldwide recognition. American and European media outlets were all writing about the strongman with a mop. Fitness celebrities lined up for collaborations. Back in 2022, right after moving, Vladimir had managed to film a joint episode with the legendary powerlifter Larry Wheels. They went around gyms in Los Angeles together, pulling pranks. In 2023, Shmondenko was personally invited to Bahrain by the country's prince. A member of the royal family turned out to be a fan. Vladimir was welcomed with honors at the palace, where he stayed for several days, chatting with the crown prince, and marveling at the doors that internet fame could open. But perhaps the key moment in his ascent was meeting the man whose posters adorned the walls of generations of bodybuilders, Arnold Schwarzenegger. In June 2025, Schwarzenegger saw one of Grandpa Anatoly's pranks and personally met with Vladimir during a workout in California. Anatoly himself called it an incredible day with a legend. You can only imagine what Vladimir felt. Standing before him was the living Terminator, a 7-time Mr. Olympia, and his longtime idol. Arnold watched a prank where Anatoly once again stunned bodybuilders, laughing loudly and applauding. Schwarzenegger openly praised the young man, saying that his playful pranks had breathed new life into the popularization of bodybuilding. For Shmondenko, those words meant the world. His dream, to do something significant in the world of sports, had clearly come true. Off-camera, Vladimir Shmondenko is not the person people are used to seeing as the cheerful grandpa with the mop. His real life is much calmer than his TikTok and Instagram videos. Behind the bright on-screen persona of Mr. Anatoly is a simple and hard-working guy. He doesn't share much about his personal life, preferring to keep the focus on his work. It's known that Vladimir has been with his girlfriend for a long time, since before all the fame. Her name is Valeria Shurshova, and she is a model. She moved to Dubai with him, and according to Vladimir and his friends, supports him in every way, sometimes even pitching ideas for new pranks. The couple hasn't announced any wedding plans, but Shmondenko has often said that family values are very important to him. Despite his impressive income, he remains quite modest in his daily life. Yes, Vladimir can afford expensive tech or a nice car, but ostentation isn't his style. He spends most of his time in gyms and on film sets, not at loud parties. He has a relaxed attitude toward luxury. It's said that even in restaurants, he habitually leaves tips for waiters that are larger than his bill. In his appearance too, he doesn't try to look like a celebrity. In everyday life, you might see Vladimir in a simple sports t-shirt and shorts without expensive accessories. Perhaps only his signature well-groomed beard gives him away as a media personality. By the way, for the grandpa character, he periodically had to shave his real beard and glue on a fake one for the sake of convincing makeup. But when it comes to work, Shmondenko is a perfectionist. Those who have collaborated with him note his incredible dedication to the process. He personally oversees the editing of every video, proofreads subtitles in 3 languages, Russian, Ukrainian, and English, and controls the sound and filming quality. If he's not satisfied with the result, he might reshoot a scene, even if it takes the whole day. Vladimir understands that keeping an audience is harder than attracting one. That's why he constantly generates new formats and comes up with fresh characters and situations. In one interview, Vladimir shared that his ace in the hole is the character of the funny old man, who can be made up to be unrecognizable, allowing him to keep surprising the public. But time goes on, and Shmondenko is already preparing new roles. For example, he recently tried performing as a clumsy rookie personal trainer. Of course, with so many fans, there's also criticism. Commenters from his native Russian-speaking community are particularly harsh. Vladimir himself has noted that for every 1,000 comments from foreigners, only a couple are negative, whereas on his Russian language channel, there are far more armchair experts and critics. They try to expose him, claiming everything is staged, or they critique his accent and appearance. Shmondenko takes it all in stride. He doesn't hide that some prank scenes had to be shot several times, or that he sometimes had to make arrangements with gym management, but he calls it part of the creative process. "I prefer to believe it's all real," he says with a smile when addressing the skeptics' doubts. In his view, even if some participants suspected it was a prank, the essence doesn't change. The videos still make people laugh, motivate them not to judge others by their appearance, and inspire them to chase their own personal record, even if they're weaker than others today. Shmondenko also admits that what inspires him most is meeting new people. Fame has given him the chance to interact with people he could only have dreamed of before. Sports stars, famous businessmen, even members of royal families. And he learns something from each of them. Vladimir tries to absorb this wisdom while remaining himself, a simple guy from a small village who is madly in love with what he does. Yet behind the outward success, there were also dark sides, severe burnout, and a sense of loneliness. Shmondenko candidly described his state at the peak of his fame. You're in a room full of friends, but you feel completely alone. To cope with this emotional emptiness, Vladimir developed a unique mental technique he calls the save game, like in a video game. He mentally saves his state both in moments of triumph and on his toughest days. Then, when he needs motivation, he loads a difficult period from his memory to appreciate his current success more keenly and not lose his drive. His approach to money is about playing the long game. He tries to build his brand in a way that maintains his audience's trust for years to come. Vladimir turns down about 95% of advertising offers, including contracts worth over $1 million, just to avoid burning his subscribers' trust for a quick profit. He has a strict policy against advertising casinos, betting, and shady products. Expensive toys don't impress him. He admits he gets no pleasure from luxury watches or designer clothes and feels uncomfortable in them. Instead, his greatest pleasure is being able to help his family. Today, Vladimir Shmondenko is 26 years old and still at the top of his game. More than 10 years have passed since he first picked up a camera, and since then, his journey from an enthusiastic schoolboy to a global influencer has been completed at a fantastic speed. Vladimir now lives in Dubai and continues to delight fans with regular videos on his English language channel, Anatoly. His empire has grown. In addition to videos, Shmondenko sells his own training and nutrition programs on his website and has launched his own line of sports nutrition under the brand Mr. Anatoly Clean Pro, offering protein powders and vitamins. Furthermore, in collaboration with British partners, he is developing a brand of cleaning equipment called Mr. Anatoly, featuring branded heavy mops and buckets as fun merchandise for fans. Shmondenko's content isn't standing still either. The kindly old Janitor character has become so famous that pranking people in the same makeup over and over is getting difficult. Many already recognize Anatoly. Vladimir understands this and is therefore testing new personas. Sometimes he pretends to be a clumsy rookie trainer. Other times he creates comedic formats where, for example, a bodybuilder competes against a skinny guy who is secretly Shmondenko himself. Audiences are loving these videos too, and Vladimir dreams of making a full-length feature film about pranks, either a thriller or a comedy. Given his persistence, there's no doubt he'll do it one day. It's also worth mentioning the impact Shmondenko has had on the fitness industry. After his rise to fame, a trend of similar pranks swept the globe, with bloggers trying to copy the weakling versus bodybuilder format. But so far, no one has managed to replicate his success. Vladimir is simply too charismatic and genuine in his videos. Many young people admit that his videos inspired them to join a gym and stop being self-conscious about their physique. After all, Mr. Anatoly's main message is, it doesn't matter what you look like. What matters is what you can do. The strongest person in the gym isn't necessarily a mountain of muscle. It could very well be a skinny kid with proper technique or a humble old man with a mop in the corner. What's next? For now, Vladimir is full of plans. Shmondenko himself says he'd like to contribute outside of the internet, perhaps by getting involved in charity projects for young athletes. But that's for the future. Right now, every new day for Vladimir is about new shoots, workouts, and ideas. He still picks up his signature 32-kilogram mop and heads out to surprise unsuspecting bodybuilders in another gym. And watching this relentless guy, you can't help but believe he has many more achievements ahead of him. By the way, his ultimate ambition isn't business. Shmondenko dreams of becoming the #1 fitness blogger in the world, not by subscriber count, but by influence and media weight. He looks up to Canadian bodybuilder Chris Bumstead, whom he considers #1 in the industry today. And Vladimir formulated his final mission back when he was 14, and it remains unchanged. To prove by his own example that a kid from a small village can achieve global recognition and become a source of inspiration for millions. The story of Vladimir Shmondenko is the journey of a self-made man who invented and built himself from scratch, without producers or connections. He turned a simple prank into true art, at the intersection of strength and humor. His path teaches us that there are no barriers to talent and persistence. Without a fancy gym or rich sponsors, he became both an athlete and a media influencer. He took risks, tried new things, and wasn't afraid to change his entire life for his principles, and he came out a winner every time. Of course, there are those who are skeptical of the Mr. Anatoly phenomenon. Some old-school bodybuilders complain that the gym is not a circus, you can't fool around here. But nevertheless, Vladimir has inspired millions of people around the world to get into fitness and to look at their workouts with a smile. He reminded everyone that strength isn't just about serious faces and protein shakes, it's also about fun and play. So who is Vladimir Shmondenko? A prankster who tricked the world for fame, or an inspiring hero of our time? A raw talent who created an international media business from nothing, or just a lucky guy who was in the right place at the right time? Share your opinion in the comments. If you like this episode, hit the like button and subscribe. There are many more amazing stories to come. Let us know who you'd like to hear about in the next video. And be sure to check out the links we've left for you in the description below. See you next time.